Hey, I'm Garrett Bradford, and you are watching the UK Americana Bar Show.
We almost had how good it was till it went bad. If love like that's worth more than a try or two, 'cause I do.
What was that?
This is Bernie, our big...
Hey everybody, welcome back to the UK Americana Bar Show. Thank you for joining us, we really do appreciate it. Garrett Bradford, a country singer, raised on a ranch in Texas. This guy's fantastic. He's got a new album out called The Honkiest of Tonkers. It's a great album. One of my favourite songs on there is Watching You Burn. He tells us about his 90,000 streams he's getting monthly, his great success in the UK, and he meets Bernie, our Bigfoot from downstairs. But also, we catch him at the end on the spot. Really fun guy, a great album. Boy, you're going to love him. He's a storyteller. Check him out. Part 1, Garrett Bradford.
Well, I appreciate that. I'm glad to be talked about anywhere, as long as it's good stuff.
Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the UK Americana Bar Show. We really do appreciate it. It's not every day we have a real cowboy on the show, but this is a singing cowboy doing very, very well. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Garrett Bradford. How you doing?
Thank you for having me on. Thank you for having me. This is really awesome.
I see you got the old hat going as well, which is great, you know.
Yes, sir. I didn't want to disappoint you. I figured I would wear it for our interview.
Hey, listen, you're doing really well at the moment. I mean, your new album that you've got, well, the song is Watching You Burn, is the one that you're promoting from the album, but it's The Honkiest of Tonkers.
Yes, sir.
Part 1.
That's right. I had to pick that name. That was one of the songs on the record, and I thought that'd be the best title track because it would make people listen to it. It would get them curious.
Well, you know, the album isn't necessarily honky tonk. It's really, oh my God, it's a brilliant album. I mean, they say you're a storyteller, and I'm not surprised. Your songs are fantastic. I mean, so look, you were born on a ranch, brought up on a ranch in Texas, is that right?
Yes, sir. That's the world that I grew up in, and I was not really exposed to music except through church as a young kid, singing in choir. My mom had me singing in choir, and then eventually, when I was a young teenager, or actually even before that, I think I was about 11 years old, I made a new friend who had just moved to town from Nashville, and his dad was a songwriter they had moved to Texas, named Dan Roberts. He wrote like Beaches of Cheyenne and some of Garth Brooks' big hits, and that's where I got the songwriting bug, from sitting around and listening to him play songs that he had written, and it was off to the races since then. I got a guitar, and that's all I've ever wanted to do.
I mean, you draw a lot of inspiration now from Tennessee and Texas.
Yes, absolutely. And there's songs on this record that I recorded in Tennessee and Texas. So I wanted it to be a kind of a mixture of two of my favorite places right now.
So look, tell me about this new album. One of my favorite songs in it is Do You. I mean, these songs, it's funny, I say this to a lot of artists. I'm so excited to find out where people get the inspiration from. I mean, Watching You Burn, for example, you give the analogy of cinders in a fire. Turn it into a love song. You've got to check that out, guys. You really, really love it. I mean, where do you get the inspiration from that? Where does that come about? How does it happen?
You know, most of it comes from my life. I mean, both of those songs were kind of about the same relationship that I was in. It's really ended now, but you know, right after we had broken up, I was in a Watching You Burn mood, kind of maybe a little bit bitter and upset. And then as the stages of grief go on, whenever you get out of a relationship, you start questioning, well, was that a good idea?
River of stars, river of stars. No matter where we're going, it's exactly where we are. We're all together, swimming in a river of stars. When you're living on a great big miracle, it's easy to forget.
at least that's for me. Most of all my songs come from either something that I go through or somebody that I meet. I mean, I have 2 truck driving songs on the first part of the album, and
Right. Okay.
and I just love truckers. I mean, I've got a lot of friends that are truckers. My dad was a trucker, and I love that style of music. Jerry Reed, C.W.
Oh,
all
baby.
the old
No,
classics. So
interestingly, there's a style of country that kind of sizzled out, and it should come back because it really was something different, wasn't it? So
it was.
a couple of songs like that on this new album, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah, I just love any type of songs that are kind of blue collar, about the working man, and a lot of country music, especially in the last 10 or 20 years. There's a lot of good country music, but a lot of it's about partying and
Yeah.
jacked up trucks. Everything has to do with something like that. And I'm as country as anybody, but I like writing songs that people can really identify with, and like the truck drivers just love when you write a song about them, and they listen to a lot of music. They're driving down the road all day, so it was a no-brainer. Yes, sir.
I mean, listen, again, getting back to the lyrics, your lyrics are quite amazing.
Thank
You look like a relatively young man, you know. I mean, to have that depth, boy, you had some upbringing. I mean, I say that because you mentioned that in your bio. 'Cause I've done a little bit of research on you, know. I really have. Rodeo. You do rodeo as well, do you?
So actually, I grew up doing rodeo things because my parents raised bucking bulls and bucking horses.
Okay. Could you say
So-
that again? Sorry, they raised what?
Bucking bulls and bucking horses. So like the horses that you ride at the rodeo and everything. So growing up, if I wasn't in school during the summers or spring break, I was with my dad on the road, and we would travel all over America with our horses and our bulls, and really everybody I was around. And still the area that I'm from, in Texas, everybody's got something to do with horses or cattle, you know. So was a great way to grow up, and you meet a lot of characters, you know, getting to be on the road so young, and you meet all these interesting storytellers, and you pick up on things. So that had a lot to do with, I think, my songwriting.
Yeah, as I was saying about this rodeo, it's one on my bucket list. You know, I'd love to do it, but God, you boys, I mean, did you seriously ever hurt yourself or get injured or anything?
Well, I only got on a couple of bulls in my lifetime, and the reason I did that is because it scared the crap out of me, and I was a little bit too tall. Usually it works better if you're a little bit shorter.
Oh, hang
What
on.
is that?
Sorry, Garrett. Thank you, Bernie.
What was that?
This is Bernie, our Bigfoot.
Oh!
Garrett. Oh, something you should. Hey.
Oh, nice to meet you. We have Bigfoots here in Tennessee, too. We have a few in Texas. I haven't seen any. That's my
family in
first
Canada.
time.
He's got family in Canada.
Oh, really? Well, that's my first time seeing a Bigfoot. Tell him thank you for appearing.
It's a she.
Oh, I didn't mean to misgender her. There's supposed to be a lot of those Bigfoots here in Tennessee, man, and I haven't seen any, but on every show I've been on, man.
Well, you know, I've got that on my to-do list, but I mean, rodeoing, but I don't know.
Come on.
I don't know. So listen, 60,000 streams a month. That's not bad, old buddy.
It's going up too. Last month I think in the month of January I had like 90,000. So I'm really excited about that, to see some growth.
That's fantastic, mate. So look, I mean, getting back to your songwriting again, you've had a lot of interesting collaborations with people. George Strait, Miranda Lambert, Stevie Nicks. How did this all come about?
So I wrote, I think what you're referring to is the writers that I write with, like Leslie Satcher and Tom Douglas, have written some of their hits. So when I moved to Nashville, I was so blessed a couple of years ago when I moved up here, or started coming up here. I still spend half my time in Texas, but I started renting a place here, and it was so cool because I had a song on, which we might talk about later, but the TV show Yellowstone, and that was a huge show in America. I know it's starting to be the same way in the UK and in Europe, but that allowed me, because I had that on my resume, to write with some of the best writers in town and become friends with them. And I've learned so much from those people. And like you say, they have written some of the biggest hits that you can imagine in music. And what's really interesting, they've always encouraged me to try to be unique and have my own voice,
Are you sure?
and not just chase what's on the radio, because they have a different perspective. They've seen people come and go and the different fads go, but they always say, if you stick to who you are and what really inspires you, you can be honest, that people will always resonate with that, you know?
Be honest in your writing and your performance, you know.
Yes, sir.
So before we get off topic, Sheryl Crow. Love Sheryl Crow. Do you bump into her at all on your travels? Or
I never have, but I would love to.